Libya, a country most people only hear about during wars and oil crises. But beneath the conflict, beneath the headlines, beneath the desert itself, sits something the world rarely talks about: Africa's largest oil reserves and the families who control them. For decades, that oil has made governments, broken revolutions, funded wars, and created fortunes so large they had to be hidden across 6 continents. Behind every $1 billion, there's a family. These are the 10 richest ones. Imagine building a country from scratch, not inheriting one, not conquering one, actually sitting down, negotiating with foreign powers, drafting agreements, and willing a brand new nation into existence. That's what the Ben Halim family did. In 1951, Libya became an independent nation, one of the poorest countries on earth at the time. No oil, no wealth, no leverage, just desert and a handful of men trying to build something from absolutely nothing. Mustafa Ahmed Ben Halim was one of those men. At just 32 years old, he became prime minister. Think about that, 32, sitting across negotiating tables from Britain, the United States, and France, world powers who had very specific ideas about what Libya should become. He didn't blink. He held his ground, protected Libyan interests, and helped lay the foundations of a state that would later sit on one of the most valuable oil deposits on the planet. Then, in 1959, they found it. Oil, deep in the Libyan desert. The poorest country in the Mediterranean became one of the most strategically important almost overnight. And the Ben Halim family had already been there, embedded in the institutional fabric of the state before the money even arrived. That kind of positioning you cannot buy. Then 1969 happened. Gaddafi's coup changed everything. The monarchy fell. Figures from the Idris era were pushed out, exiled, silenced, or worse. Ben Halim spent years abroad, Lebanon, Europe, building quietly while Libya burned through revolution after revolution behind him. But here's the thing about old money: it doesn't need to be loud. While Gaddafi's cronies accumulated wealth through raw political force, the Ben Halim family did something different, building diaspora networks, maintaining relationships, preserving a legacy across borders and decades that no revolution could fully erase. That legacy survived everything. Today, the family name still carries real weight inside Libya. Not the explosive weight of a Haftar or a Gaddafi, something quieter, the weight of a family that helped build the nation before anyone knew it was worth building. Number 10 in raw wealth, but in terms of history, nobody on this list has a longer story.
Number 9. The Sheneib family. And if you've never heard that name before, you're not alone. But inside Libya, this name carries weight that goes far beyond money. This is a family that didn't just live through Libyan history, they helped write it. In 1951, when Libya became an independent nation, Omar Fayyaq Sheneib wasn't just present, he was essential. Minister of Defense, Vice President of the National Assembly, Chief of the Royal Court under King Idris, one of the most powerful political figures in the country's early years. But here's the detail most people miss. Sheneib designed Libya's independence flag, the tricolor with the star and crescent that flew over the nation from 1951 to 1969. That flag, his creation, became a symbol of everything the monarchy represented: sovereignty, identity, pride. Then 1969 happened. Gaddafi's coup didn't just remove the government, it targeted everyone connected to the old order. The Sheneib family, with their deep ties to King Idris, became immediate enemies of the new regime. Abdulaziz Sheneib, a senior military commander, was arrested and imprisoned for 4.5 years. When he was finally released, Gaddafi sent him to Jordan as an ambassador, but it was a trap. His real orders were to assassinate King Hussein of Jordan. Think about that. The moment Abdulaziz arrived in Amman, he went straight to the king, told him everything, defected on the spot, and joined the opposition against Gaddafi from exile. That kind of courage doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from a family that values principle over survival. For over 40 years, the Sheneib family lived abroad, scattered across Europe, the Gulf, North America, building careers, raising families, and waiting for the country to change. And then it did. When Gaddafi fell in 2011, one of the first things Libya's interim government did was bring back the old flag, Sheneib's flag, the symbol of independence, the symbol of everything Gaddafi tried to erase for 40 decades. In 2013, the Libyan government publicly honored the Sheneib family for their contributions to the nation, a recognition that money can't buy and revolutions can't destroy. Today, the family's wealth is quiet. Diaspora investments, professional networks, generational assets built across decades of exile.
Number 8. Libya's last royal family, the Senussi dynasty. In 1951, when Libya became independent, it wasn't a nation. It was 3 separate regions with different tribes and no shared identity. Mohammed Idris al-Senussi was the man who united them. King Idris wasn't some foreign-imposed monarch. He was the head of the Senussi order, a Sufi Islamic movement that commanded the loyalty of tribes across Libya's desert. When the UN granted independence, there was only one figure with enough legitimacy to hold the country together. For 18 years, the Senussi monarchy was stable and developing. Oil was discovered in 1959. Schools, hospitals, infrastructure. Libya had a future. Then September 1st, 1969. Gaddafi's coup changed everything. The king went into exile. The crown prince was arrested and imprisoned. In 1984, Gaddafi's men burned down the crown prince's house. They demolished the historic Senussi mosque. They dug up the founder's grave and scattered his remains. Gaddafi didn't just overthrow a government, he tried to erase an entire legacy. But he couldn't. In 1988, Crown Prince Hassan was allowed to travel to London for medical treatment. 8 months later, his family joined him. They arrived with nothing. Hassan died in London in 1992. His son, Mohammed, became the rightful heir. For 22 years, the Senussi family lived in exile, quiet, waiting. Then, 2011 happened. When Libyans rose up, they didn't wave a new flag, they waved the old one, the tricolor of the Senussi monarchy, the flag Gaddafi banned for 42 years. The Senussi family didn't return to power, but they returned to relevance. Prince Mohammed remains one of the most respected figures in Libyan politics, not because he commands an army, but because he represents something Gaddafi could never give Libya: legitimacy. Number 8 in terms of fortune, but in terms of legacy, the Senussi name is still written into the soul of Libya itself. Number 7. The Misrata business families. And if you're waiting for a single name, you won't get one. Because this isn't about one family. It's about an entire merchant class that controls one of Libya's most critical economic arteries. Misrata, Libya's 3rd largest city, the country's commercial capital, and home to the largest seaport in the entire nation. For centuries, Misrata has been about one thing: trade. The city sits perfectly positioned on the Mediterranean coast, 200 kilometers east of Tripoli, 800 kilometers west of Benghazi. It's the nexus of Libya's coastal highway, the economic artery connecting Libya to Egypt in the east and Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco in the west. And at the heart of it all, the Misrata Free Zone, Libya's largest port, handling over 350,000 containers annually. Container ships, general cargo, boat carriers, industrial products, foodstuffs, livestock, everything flows through Misrata. 2 families have historically dominated this economic empire: the Muntasar clan, Arabian merchants whose wealth goes back centuries, and the Adgam family, descendants of Ottoman officers who settled in the region and built commercial dynasties that stretched from Misrata to Tripoli, Benghazi, and beyond. These families didn't just trade goods, they controlled political power, negotiated with foreign governments, and at times led rebellions against their own Ottoman rulers when central authority tried to crush their independence. When Gaddafi seized power in 1969, he couldn't fully destroy Misrata's merchant class. They were too embedded, too essential. The port kept running, the trade kept flowing, and the families quietly adapted. Some cooperated, some went into exile, some waited. After Gaddafi fell in 2011, Misrata emerged stronger than ever. The free zone expanded. International companies moved in, Toyota, Nissan, major construction firms. The port modernized with automated systems and advanced cranes. Today, Misrata's business families don't make headlines, they don't give interviews, they don't flex wealth on social media, but they control the gateway through which Libya's economy breathes. Number 6. The Maiteeq family. They are not the loudest family in Libya. They don't command militias, they don't dominate headlines, but their influence runs through the most important artery of the entire nation: energy. Ahmed Maiteeq is one of Libya's most powerful economic figures, deputy prime minister, strategic negotiator, and the man who helped restart Libya's oil engine when the country needed it most. In 2020, Libya's oil exports were completely blocked. For 9 months, production stopped, government revenue collapsed, the economy was suffocating. Then, Maiteeq stepped in. Working behind closed doors, he negotiated directly with rival factions controlling the oil infrastructure. No cameras, no speeches, just leverage. Within weeks, oil began flowing again. Exports surged past 1 million barrels per day, restoring billions of dollars and stabilizing the country's financial future. This wasn't just politics, it was control over access. Libya holds Africa's largest proven oil reserves, and whoever controls access to that oil controls the country's economic lifeline. Today, the Maiteeq family continues positioning itself at the center of Libya's energy future, from oil and gas expansion to new partnerships in solar and long-term export infrastructure. Their estimated net worth stands between $3 and $5 billion. Quiet, strategic, essential.
Number 5. The Belhaj family. And this is where the story gets complicated. Abdul Hakim Belhaj's early life reads like a thriller. Fighter in Afghanistan, founder of the Libyan Islamic fighting group that tried to overthrow Gaddafi, captured by the CIA in 2004, rendered to Libya, and thrown into Abu Salim prison, one of the most brutal detention centers on earth. He spent 7 years there. Then 2011 happened. The revolution came, Gaddafi fell, and Belhaj emerged not just as a free man, but as a senior rebel commander who helped liberate Tripoli. From prisoner to power. But here's where the story shifts from politics to billions. After the revolution, Belhaj didn't just rebuild, he capitalized on chaos. Post-war Libya needed everything: construction, logistics, aviation, oil infrastructure, and Belhaj positioned himself at the center of it all. He launched aviation companies, secured government contracts, built real estate empires, controlled logistics networks moving goods across North Africa, invested heavily in Turkey and Qatar, countries that backed Libya's revolution and rewarded their allies. The money didn't come from transparency, it came from access. Access to post-war contracts, access to reconstruction funds, access to political power that translated directly into economic opportunity. Today, Abdul Hakim Belhaj is estimated to be worth $15 billion. $15 billion, built in just over a decade. His critics call him Qatar's man in Libya, a figure whose wealth exploded suspiciously fast in a country drowning in corruption. His supporters see a man who fought Gaddafi, paid the price, and earned his fortune. Either way, The Belhaj family sits at number 5 because of how that wealth was built. Fast, strategic, and deeply entangled with Libya's most chaotic years.
Number 4. The Dbeibeh family. And honestly, this is where you can't separate the money from the politics anymore. They're the same thing. Abdul Hamid Dbeibeh is Libya's current prime minister. He's also worth about $10 billion. And here's the key detail: the fortune came first. Back in 2007, Gaddafi handed Dbeibeh the keys to Lidco, the Libyan investment and development company. Not just some construction firm, a state-owned holding company controlling billions in public works contracts, housing, roads, entire coastal developments. Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte, Lidco built it. The money flowed for years: government contracts, infrastructure, state-backed construction during Libya's oil boom. Then 2011 happened. Gaddafi fell, and Libya's transitional government immediately went after Dbeibeh. The accusations were serious. Embezzlement estimates reached $7 billion, money laundering, contract fraud, vote buying. But here's the thing about Libya: accusations don't always stick. Power shifts, allegiances change, and by 2021, Dbeibeh had completely reinvented himself. The UN-backed Libyan Political Dialogue Forum picked him as prime minister to lead the country to elections in December 2021. Those elections never happened. Dbeibeh refused to step down. A rival parliament tried appointing someone else. He rejected it. In 2022, someone tried to assassinate him. He survived. Today, he's still prime minister, still controlling government budgets, still accused of corruption, and still sitting on that $10 billion fortune. Construction companies, real estate, banking, luxury properties across Turkey, the UAE, and Europe. The Dbeibeh family sits at number 4, not because the wealth is legitimate, but because the power protecting it is absolute. But what if you didn't need political office to build a fortune? What if you just built it the old-fashioned way, through business, legitimacy, and staying out of the headlines? Number 3. The Husni Bey family. And this entry is different from every other name you've heard so far. No revolution, no militias, no government contracts, no backroom oil deals. Just commerce. Real, legitimate, generational commerce. The HB Group was founded in 1952 by Ibrahim Husni Bey as a maritime logistics company, 7 years before Libya discovered oil, 7 years before anyone knew this country would be worth billions. Today, under Hisham Husni Bey's leadership, HB Group is Libya's largest private enterprise. Over 30 independent companies, banking, telecommunications, import-export, pharmaceuticals, retail franchises across the country. If you've bought anything in Libya, groceries, medicine, Western brands, there's a good chance the Husni Bey family imported it, distributed it, or sold it to you. But here's what makes them truly different. Hisham Husni Bey was imprisoned 7 times under Gaddafi, not for corruption, not for plotting a coup, for speaking his mind. In 2009, he publicly told Saif al-Islam Gaddafi that his economic reforms were a lie designed to control the private sector. 2 weeks later, he was arrested. But he kept building, kept speaking, kept refusing government contracts because he didn't want to be controlled. Today, Hisham Husni Bey is worth $8 billion, and Bloomberg wrote, "They all want to be like Husni Bey. For many youth, for many grown-ups, he's the role model." The Husni Bey family sits at number 3 not because they played the game, but because they refused to. But what happens when business isn't enough? When the only way to build a fortune is through barrels and bullets? Number 2, the Haftar family. And this is where Libya's story gets darker. Khalifa Haftar controls 2/3 of Libya's territory, the entire eastern half of the country,
every oil field, every port, every airport, every military base, and the central bank's printing press. He doesn't govern Libya, he runs it like a private empire. And his sons? They're not just heirs, they're lieutenants in the family business. Saddam Haftar, the most powerful son, commands the ground forces. Khalid leads the personal security guard. Belhaj controls billions in reconstruction funds. Each son has a portfolio. Each son has a sector. The Haftar family doesn't just rule eastern Libya, they own it. The wealth didn't come from entrepreneurship, it came from force. Oil smuggling, gold trafficking, bank robberies. UN reports confirm Saddam's troops seized $173 million from the central bank of Benghazi in 2018. Another report links him to oil exports worth over $600 million through a private company he indirectly controls. And when activists speak out, they disappear, or worse. Hanan al-Barassi, a Libyan activist who criticized the Haftars publicly, was shot dead in broad daylight in November 2020. Khalifa Haftar is 81 now. His health is failing, and the question everyone's asking is simple: what happens when he dies? Western diplomats have started meeting with Haftar's sons publicly, legitimizing what one analyst called a family power structure that sees the country's 2/3 and its underground wealth as private property. The Haftar family sits at number 2, not because the wealth is earned, but because the military power protecting it is absolute. But there's one family that makes every other fortune on this list look small. One family that didn't just control Libya's wealth, they treated it like a personal bank account for 42 years. The Gaddafi family. And the numbers are almost incomprehensible. $200 billion. About $30,000 for every single Libyan citizen. Double what Western governments previously suspected. Bank accounts, real estate, and corporate investments scattered across the world. Properties in Switzerland, Malta, London. Stakes in Italian banks, Juventus Football Club, hotels, yachts, private jets, gold reserves. All bought with Libya's oil money, while ordinary Libyans struggled. Muammar Gaddafi ruled for 42 years, and during that time, he didn't govern Libya, he pillaged it. Mohammed, the oldest son, dominated telecommunications. Mu'tasim served as national security advisor. Hannibal controlled maritime shipping. Khamis commanded a top military unit. Each son was assigned a sector. Each son became a billionaire. When Gaddafi fell in 2011, the UN Security Council froze $150 billion in sovereign wealth and 144 tons of gold. The United States alone holds $34 billion belonging to Libya. But here's the truth. The whereabouts of the remaining assets remain unknown, hidden in Dubai, Southeast Asia, shell companies, bank accounts under false names. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, the dictator's son and heir, owned a £10.9 million mansion in London's Hampstead. After his father's death, he was captured, imprisoned, and sentenced to death. In 2017, he was released. In 2021, he tried to run for president. Then, on February 3, 2026, just days ago, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi was shot and killed at his private garden in Zintan by 4 gunmen. The Gaddafi family sits at number 1 not because they earned it, but because for 42 years they stole it. 10 families, billions of dollars, and the story of a nation still searching for its future. Some built their wealth through commerce, some through politics, some through war, and one through outright theft on a scale the world had never seen. Libya's wealth isn't just about money, it's about power, access, and survival. If you found this compelling, hit subscribe. We're just getting started, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.